is there a moment almost like from the film Tommy Boy when the whole warehouse breaks into applause with Tommy just sold 500,000 brake pads? Like, is there a moment where you guys are like, he's coming, he's here?
Yeah, it was the press. Well, it was the press release. Which
how did that? Who were you with for that?
So we were in LA for a few days because that's where a lot of the free agents are, the players themselves, and also the agents. So I'd say it's somewhere around 1 in 3 of all agents, all players are in LA. So we were camped out. It was, that same core group that I mentioned at the start, Elton, Peter, Fanhole, Ned Cohen, like that whole group was there. Nick Nurse was in the room. And, we were prepping, doing the final details because at that point we were allowed to schedule the meeting with Paul. And Josh, as he's famously talked about, looks like he was going to have trouble getting off the ground to get to the meeting with Dr. J. And actually, Dr. J was as far as we could tell, a big factor because we had listened to every Podcast P podcast and, literally like had been taking notes of them for months, basically.
Scouting.
So, yeah. Not enough we have to listen to all the Race Turkey Sanchez podcasts.
Right. And Mind the Game, of course.
And so this press release comes out, and we're all looking at each other like, "This seems good." And then we're reading it again. We're like, "Yeah, that's really good. Like, what are the Clippers doing? We don't understand." So, I mean, we had heard that they, sort of were going to probably draw a line, but we actually thought the whole time they were going to. And I've had this before. I was going after Chris Bosh years ago. He was coming to us because Miami had drawn a line, and then Miami undrew the line at the last minute. So I really thought that was most likely what would happen. And when that happened, we were hoping that Paul at that point would have felt so upset and offended that it took that. With Chris, it didn't matter. He chose Miami, which was totally reasonable. With us, I thought maybe the way Paul and our background was that if they weren't treating him the right way going into it, maybe he might say, "Hey, I love these guys. These guys have been excited to have me the whole time."
I think we have all agreed, or at least the three of us have agreed, that even given the risks, that Joel playing in the Olympics is a net positive. That said, when you're watching, do you ever, see him fall, see him go up for a block, and think to yourself, like, "Oh, no. Like, do you get nervous watching?"
I haven't yet. I think part of it's because you can sort of tell when Joel's putting himself in tougher spots, I think. And it comes from like this extreme desire to win. I think Paul actually mentioned this in his press conference. He said it better than me, which was like when you have that massive pressure and you think it's only on you to make it happen, and sometimes you're in that, and he's going to be in that again next year. That's when some of these injuries occur. And similar to how I hope the game is much easier for him this year, I think with USA Basketball, it's obviously much easier with Steph Curry and LeBron and some of these elite players playing with them.
With Joel over the last 3 weeks, it's really been a storm of quotes that if you're a fan of Joel, people will rub in your face. Could have been greatest all time if he didn't get hurt. LeBron and Steph Curry are not what they used to be. He can't win it all by himself. He came back too early, so Maxey needed to carry him. This is coming from a Joel fan, by the way.
Sure.
The Celtics have a super team, yada, yada, yada.
Well, you had those ready. You didn't have a written.
Well,
impressive.
Let me tell you this. It's really you and Joel. If either you or Joel do something that pisses people off, they come at one of us. And because I'm on the fucking radio every day, it's me. Well, what do you think about this? What do you think? Yeah. So I guess all these things with Joel, he seems to not quite understand why there is so much pushback on him publicly. Do you think he does understand it, he's just fucking around, or do you think he understands how when he says things like this, it comes across as like sort of excuse making at times or not understanding reality.
Yeah, I think he understands everything. I think he's super, super savvy, very smart, one of the smartest guys I've ever been around. I think he's at the, like, on these minor, like, if you let the haters get to you at this point, you're in trouble at age 30 in the league, given how great he is. So I think he just mostly doesn't care. And I sort of love that about him. Like, I think he gives real answers, and, the media says they want that, but then obviously the aggregators, try to really try to put you back in the box. The aggregators are very frightening. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I just made the most banal comments about where we stand in the race. I spent like 90% of my time saying how great the Celtics are, and then I just said, we're hoping to beat them next year. And that was like 55 articles, basically. So I just think you learn to turn it out. I think Joel must too, which is like, yeah, I guess people clipped it and aggregated it, but I just spoke the truth. You can definitely argue he could take a different approach, but then he sort of wouldn't be Joel. I don't know. Like, I sort of love him for all his stuff. Yeah.
How did it feel for you to watch the Boston Celtics win the NBA championship last year?
They just gave you all the tough questions, Mike. Probably because we sent the jersey.
I like you said they, like, there is some board of the region that gives us the questions to ask.
I'm held hostage by the question.
I know those guys because I work there. I thought it was especially hard. Mostly because, like, when I first came to the Sixers, obviously all my friends at the Celtics were there, and they were very nice in saying, like, we're really pissed off you're coming to the Sixers because the Sixers are going to be good, we think, but we're going to get the title before you. So it was like sort of pissed me off that they won the race since I've been with the Sixers. So, and then they're very good at rubbing it in to me behind the scenes, and then obviously Boston fans are very good about. I'm assuming Philly fans are good about rubbing it in too, so I can't really complain too much. But Boston
wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Wouldn't. You weren't here for the Phillies winning or the Eagles?
Well, this is a specific thing, Daryl. Let's stay focused here.
Good. Were you born, Mike?
When in 08? Yeah, I was born in 08. At an 18, yes, I've been born.
No. Sorry, I meant 83.
No, I was born.
I was 7.
Me and you, Spike. We're here. We're the oldies.
You haven't traded a first rounder in a bit, and you like doing that. You usually like doing that. You usually love doing that.
Well, you just said we were hoping to maybe do that.
Yes.
Just only if the opportunity was very good. Because picking 16, you might get a guy who makes a big difference, and we think we might. So.
But it is notable that the first few years of your tenure here, you had to make the roster make a little bit more sense. You had to trade first rounders or near first rounders, and you've been sort of like compiling since the Harden to the Clippers trade. Did not have to use any of those this offseason because Paul George just walked into the cap space. What is it like how are you envisioning using those picks? Is it the kind of thing that you're thinking? I know it'll depend on the situation.
Yeah, no, ideally we'd use them now. Like, so there was a trade pretty short soon after Paul came where we would have to give up quite a few of those picks. Our payroll, not this year because we can't, but next year would have been $315 million. Everyone was signed off on it, and that would be ideal. Like we are right there. So that trade didn't happen. But yeah, so I think ideally we would, use those to upgrade the team, and that differentiates us from pretty much all the other contenders except OKC, who took the process and perfected it. And it's a little easier in Oklahoma City, but you got to give them credit. Sam Presti has crushed the heck out of that thing. I'm glad they're in the West. So